Hello, it's Gunnar here again from Buff Nerf Repeat, and I'm back with another cheap beginner's deck for Hearthstone. This time it's the Druid class. Now, I want to apologise, I've had to spend a little bit more dust on this deck than the usual under 1000, and the reason is Druid has a lot of cards in the 40 dust region that are just not good enough. They just don't cut it, so we need to spend a little bit more to make the decks work. Now, I've made this deck as cheap as possible. I've had to add a couple of rare cards. It's still very cheap. It's at 1300 dust, but unlike the other videos, there are a few rare cards here. But by now, hopefully you've progressed a little bit with those other cheaper decks. You've unlocked some packs, you've been able to complete some quests, got some gold together, been able to buy some packs, and you can maybe afford some of these cards. And 1300 dust is really not a lot at all. So let's go through the deck, let's talk about the game plan and the strategy. We'll start at the very top as usual, and it's Innovate to start us off. Now, I've just removed it, that's very helpful. Innovate is a free card, and what it does, it gives you an extra mana crystal. Now, it used to give you 2 mana crystals, it now only gives you 1. It's still useful in a deck like this though, just to get things out a little bit quicker. Just consider it a coin. It's an extra coin in this deck. It's a free card as well, so I like having it in here. Argent Squire, we've seen it in the other decks before. Very good 1-drop. The shield really protects it, especially when it's being buffed. Dire Mole, very good card again. It's very well statted at 1/3 for 1 mana. 2 of those, 40 dust a pop, very good. Firefly, same thing again, excellent value, 1-drop. Then we've got the Direwolf Alpha. We saw this in our Hunter deck. Really good if you've got a lot of early game minions. Very cheap card again at 40 dust a pop. Then we've got the first of our slightly more expensive cards. These are rarity cards. You can tell they're rare by the little blue diamond there in the middle of the card. That tells you the rarity, and they're going to cost you 100 dust to craft. Now, the reason I like this card is the taunt. A 1/5 taunt for 2 mana makes it very difficult for other cards to be able to break through and attack your other minions on board. So this card is kind of essential for this kind of deck, this kind of game plan. So definitely want to craft 2 of those. Next up is Power of the Wild. It's a cheap card. It's either a minion or a buff. It's great with cards like the Violet Teacher we're going to get to later. Very important card. Wrath is just going to be a little bit of board clear for us and a little bit of card draw. Don't really have any card draw in this deck, so it's good to have the utility of Wrath, either use it as damage removal or a little bit of removal plus a card draw. Crypt Lord, exactly the same thing as Druid of the Swarm. Having that big taunt, the taunt can increase in value. A little bit weak in today's meta with all the switcher cards that are going on, but in these early ranks we won't necessarily see so many of those. Landscaping is a bit of a dodgy card, don't really like it. I've only got 1 of them in here, but for 40 dust, it's acceptable. Savage Roar, we've got to have 2 Savage Roars. This is the big boy, this is going to be our finisher. It's a free card, whack it in there. Can't really go wrong with this card. Tar Creeper, again, a big taunt to protect our other minions. At 40 dust, put it in the deck. This is another rare card, so it's going to cost you 100 dust to craft. Evolving Spores, adapt your minions now. Adapt we've come across before in our Hunter deck. It's going to give us options to improve the minions that we have on board. And if we have a board full of minions, then we can adapt and hopefully get some attack, hopefully get some Wind Fury. However the situation suits us, we will be able to adapt and hopefully improve our board state. Soul of the Forest, now it is a decision whether or not to run 2 of these or just the 1. I think because we don't have a lot of the more expensive Druid cards that give us a lot more minions on board, like Living Mana, etc., it's important just to have 1 of these cards. It's only 40 dust. Really helps to give your minions the death rattle to have a 2/2 Trent on board. I like it, but only 1 off for me. Swipe, we're just putting in 2. I was thinking about having 1 of these, but 2 because it's a free costed card. Good removal, good face damage. Yeah, I like it. Violet Teacher, another essential card, one that I had to add in. It's a rare card, so it's going to cost you 200 dust to craft this bad boy, but absolutely worth it whenever you cast a spell. Summon a 1/1 Violet Apprentice. Very important card. Really great in this deck. and yeah, this will make the difference. Druid of the Claw. Yeah, Druid of the Claw is, again, not an essential card, but I like it with the charge effect. Only have one copy of these. It's a Druid class card. It's only going to cost you 40 dust. You can put 2 of these in, and if you feel like you can actually swap out a swipe for a second Druid of the Claw. It's really questionable which way around you want to go with this. I like the utility of swipe over 2 Druid of the Claws, but whatever way around you want it, feel free. And finally, Fungalmancer, no introductions. We've had it in pretty much every one of our decks for 40 dust a pop. This thing goes in so well with any aggro deck. So that's the deck. The game plan is going to be to buff our smaller creatures, to make them more threatening, to create a big board, and to finish our opponent off with Savage Roar. That's the card that boosts the attack of our minions as well as our hero power. Let's take it for a spin on ladder. Okay, here we go with our Druid deck, and we've got an interesting opening in hand here. We've got 2 1-drops, and it's questionable which 1-drop we want to go to. We're also on the coin as well, so we can actually throw back Innovate here, but throwing back Innovate is a bad decision simply because you don't want to top deck Innovate later on. It's better now than it's ever going to be, so we kind of just want it now. We're going to hopefully get a really big early board and be able to overwhelm this hunter. Okay, so we drew the Druid of the Swarm, but I think we just open up here with a 1-drop, and we're going to go for the one with slightly more health, but one that is going to be less good later on. I think the Aldrin Squire is better later on with the buffs. We're going to attack here, and it looks like it's Snake Trap, or it could be Snipe. If it's Snipe, then this will play around it quite well. Snipe does 4 damage to one of your minions. This guy's just playing out all the secrets. So we're attacking here. And it's a freezing trap, so we were right to attack with the lowest costed minion. We know we can attack with this now as well, because we know that it's most likely Snake Trap. And how do we want to progress here? I think we're going to play... I think we're just going to play this bad boy up. We've got 2 really high costed taunt minions here that are going to hopefully stick around so that we can buff them later on. No buff cards in our hand at the moment. Still no buff cards unfortunately, so I think it's time to get some damage in. So we're going to coin out the Druid of the Claw. I'm actually going to charge in. We're going to get some damage in here. I like just putting a little bit of pressure on the hunter here. Hunter manages to get out 4 3/3, so he's had a lot of secrets. That's a pretty good play for him. We're going to Wrath 1 down, and we're going to develop. And what do we develop? I think we're going to develop another taunt. Still no buff creatures. It's a little bit disappointing, but let's Wrath 1 down. And because we know it's Snake Trap, I don't really like trading in here. It's not really going to take any power off the board, and I want to get maximum power on the board at the moment. So I think we're going to go for another one of these bad boys. we're just going to hit him in the face. We're going to let him do the trades. If he wants to start trading with us, good luck to him. He's down to 16. So he's going to kill Commander at 4/4, and that's his whole turn pretty much used up here. I think we're just going to see a hero power here, most likely. And there's a Savage Roar. It's a little bit late, but I'm tempted to start getting in the attacks. Tempted to throw out a Savage Roar here, because I think we might lose our boards. So we might not have enough opportunity to use it. We don't have any charge minions in this deck, so it feels like now or never. If we Savage Roar here, we'll have 3 face damage, 4, 8, so it'll be 11, so we'll put him down to 5. So then he'll be dead to a swipe hero power if we draw a swipe. Maybe we could try and build a board and wait one more turn. Interesting decision. I think I'm actually going to build a bit of a board here and try and do this next turn. And let's push face here. Maybe we can finish him off next turn, we'll see. Got a lot of taunt here, a lot of taunt value in the way. So he's got to get through 17 points of taunt. And that's going to help him. Okay, so let's just count up the damage. So he's on 14, and we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're 2 damage off here. So in a bit of an unfortunate position here. Don't want to trigger that snake track. Might be a second freezing trap. I think we do it. So which one do we want to be frozen? This one, if it's freezing trap. Okay, so Wandering Monster. So we're kind of forced into the face plan here, and we can still win with a top deck swipe. So we're not out of this game yet. The Cobra Spawn obviously helps him quite a bit. We're still on 25 as well. So we've probably got 2 chances of swipe. I can't see us being dead for a turn here, a turn or 2. So it's obviously a really good second draw for him. He's got to clear everything off here though. Can't leave anything on board, otherwise he'll be dead to the second Savage Roar. And he clears everything. I think we're going to live for a turn here. Maybe. I think we might get 2 draws. 2 chances for the swipe here. And there is the swipe. As long as this isn't something that's going to block our attack. And it's not, we win the game. So that's what I mean by playing to your outs. Our out was swipe. We had 2 in the deck. It wasn't that unlikely. So we took the Savage Roar value when we had it, even though it wasn't lethal, so that we could win the game with a top deck, and you're going to find that sometimes you just have to take a little bit of a gamble. You're going to fall behind a certain deck. Some people have very expensive decks that they're going to play and they're going to put you under pressure, and you've just got to try and take a little bit of a risk. Okay, we've got a priest here. And again we find the Innovate and the Diamol. I think they're both keeps. And first appearance of the Violet Teacher. So it's quest priest, so we want to try and kill him as soon as possible. If he goes up to 40 with his quest completion, we're really going to struggle, so we need to try and kill him as soon as possible. Unfortunately, this is not the hand that kills a priest as soon as possible. We've drawn our two highest costed minions in the deck, and we've drawn a Savage Roar, which is better late game. Yeah, this really isn't great. I think we're actually forced into coining out the Violet Teacher here, or innovating it out I should say. Ideally want to save the Innovate for the Violet Teacher, but not much choice there. And that's a better draw. And we can start pushing a little bit here. I'm not going to break these eggs. I don't really see the need. We're going to put our opponent down to 20 with a Fungal Mancer to follow up, and then fingers crossed the Savage Roar the turn after. Okay, so this is a good spot for the Fungal Mancer. Ooh, we could adapt. If we adapt, we get an extra minion from the Violet Teacher. Interesting. We could even Savage Roar here and make sure we kill the 2/1. I don't think we can miss out on this Fungal Mancer value, however. And it's all going face. Right, so he uses the cube, but it's far too late. And we've just completely out-aggroed him here, and he's actually dead on board, let alone with the buffs in hand. And that's pretty much how this deck is going to play out for you guys. Nice early board presence, following up with buffs and higher value minions like the Fungal Mancer that are really going to push through the damage and hopefully just tear apart aggro decks. Now, at these early ranks, control decks. At these early ranks, the control decks are not going to be filled with legendary minions. You might encounter a couple, but mostly you're just gonna find decks like this priest deck here, slightly off meta, just playing strange cards, and you'll be able to punish them with this deck. So I hope you enjoyed this deck. Apologies, it's costed slightly higher than the other decks, but I think it's worth it, and I think by now you should have a few quest completions, like I said, and you should have had opportunities to open packs. So until next time, good luck and enjoy.